any MGAs or wholesalers or large agencies are listening, definitely would love to show you, the solution. We've got a team here that can do demos and show you how it works. When it comes to an agent wanting to, in fact, it's very possible some of the agents listening are using Surefyre to submit to their MGAs and might not even know it because it's always white labeled as whatever the MGA's brand is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the VIP podcast. I'm so glad you're here. You're beyond the velvet ropes. You're here in the VIP lounge hanging out with us today. And I got live guests hanging out with me. I've got Alex and Dustin from Surefyre here hanging out with me today. If you're not seeing this right now, it's probably because you're not on YouTube. You got to go to YouTube, go to Channel Orange, give us a subscribe so you can see every episode that comes out. And especially when I got guests in here. It's not just me. Now you get to see two other people in here with me. And if you're listening, whether you're on Apple or Spotify or wherever you're at, make sure you subscribe, give us a review, and help us reach more people. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex and Dustin, how are y'all doing?
Good.
Great.
Yeah? I'm so glad you're here. I know, end of the day, we've been in meetings all day, but I'm just excited you guys are here. And you're probably still drinking from a fire hose and the whole Vertafore thing, right? And you still learning a lot?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a wild 4 months or so, but we're past the initial integration phase and we're getting back to business, doing work and building the product.
Yeah.
So it's feeling good.
So just to set, a base of, so the audience that knows or doesn't know, what exactly is Surefyre? If you don't mind starting. Actually, I'd love to know, where did you come up with the name Surefyre? If one of y'all could all right, Alex, there's a story there. Where's the name?
I'll let Dustin take that one, actually.
Okay. The name Surefyre.
Yeah, so first of all, it's just really hard to come up with a name these days. A lot of them are taken. A lot of domains are taken. But we wanted something that really kind of signified insurance in some way, which is where the Sure kind of came from. And we want to have trust in the product and that it's a surefire solution that will work for you.
Yeah.
So that's where Surefyre came from. And Surefyre was taken the way we wanted to spell it with an I, so we had to use the Y to avoid any.
There you go.
Yeah.
It just makes it look cool, though, to have that Y in there.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, and so tell me a little bit, going back to the beginning a little bit, I guess, what is, first of all, what's the problem you were solving there? What is Surefyre? Just a quick 2 or 3 minutes just to let us know a little bit about what it is.
Oh, you take that.
Yeah, so what Surefyre is, it's a platform, and primarily what it's providing for our customers, which are MGAs and wholesalers, is an agency portal and an underwriter workbench. So you've got MGAs, you've got wholesalers who are primarily working with agents, some going direct to insureds, and a lot of them are either working with legacy software or they're accepting submissions and working primarily over email with PDFs, and that's how information gets moved around. So Surefyre is giving them a modern web presence where the agents that are submitting to them and working with their underwriting teams can have a type of experience that they're probably expecting, certainly more and more as time goes on, and you have people who grew up with phone apps and very responsive software. That modern experience becomes very accessible. So gathering information, enriching it, providing real-time feedback, whether that's declining in real time or rating in real time. Our customers can provide experiences like that very easily. And, once those submissions come in the door, the other piece of it is the underwriting workbench. So what do internal teams need to do once they have a submission in hand to turn a quote around? That can look very different from one customer to the next.
Sure.
But the tool set allows them to create screens, create automation to facilitate whatever needs to happen, to turn those around into quotes as efficiently as possible. And the technology itself, it's 100% cloud-based. It's built from the ground up within the last 7 or 8 years or so. So it's got a lot of modern sensibility and using kind of the latest best practices. So it's very scalable. It's very fast. But it's also very configurable, and that's more in the design. So, no and low code configuration is a term that gets thrown around a lot, but once you see it, that's truly what's providing a lot of the power here. So whether it's designing a web form, a dragging and dropping, fields to create that experience and making it dynamic, showing and hiding things, going and fetching data in real time, doing real-time validation. You're using very simple tools to create these experiences, and that extends to the underwriter workbench use cases as well as integrations. So kind of another kind of core value of the platform is easy integrations. The configuration tools extend to that as well. But we believe that any really foundational insurance technology needs to play well with other technology and needs to be kind of ready for whatever's going to come next.
Sure.
So that's been built into the platform from day one.
And so one of the things I was thinking as you're talking about that is, my kids had to, I have 3 kids, and they had to create a website for a project they were doing, and they went to Wix.com and had that drag and drop feature, and you could build a whole website really simply for free or whatever. And it sounds a little bit like that's kind of the ease of which you guys have with, what you were talking about with the tools and the whatnot, and that the MGA could use to make that user-friendly and easy for their agent to use. I'm not to say you're like Wix, but is that similar to like what you're talking about as far as the ease of configuration?
Yeah, like the way I see it is on one side of the spectrum, you've got something like that where maybe you have a relatively non-technical person who's now enabled to build out, a simple web form and add some visibility logic and stuff, and they don't need to know any code or anything like that. But on the other side of the spectrum, these are generally complex problems that we're solving, right? This isn't just like a website that's delivering some static information.
Right.
So the tools, while very configurable for less technical people, they're also very capable if you want to go beyond the configuration tools and get far more technical. So you're not going to be limited by UI configuration tools, which is usually the trade-off that you have, right? If it's very easy to configure, that's usually going to limit its functionality and how complex of a problem it can solve. But we try to enable customers that are on both sides of that spectrum.
And so, Dustin, where did as you were building this, where did this all come from? I hear there's some family ties in there with that, and there's a little bit there with a background there, so it's a little more personal to you on some of this. So did that come from, where did that come? The background in that?
Yeah. So the origin story of Surefyre was actually from a need that my brother's agency had. He had an agency called Custom Built Insurance. He partnered with an insurance agent. My brother's more kind of entrepreneur. He wasn't in the insurance business originally. He partnered with an agent and saw, hey, what you're doing here, we could really scale up and build an agency and make this repeatable and hire more agents. And he knew to do that, he needed technology. So he looked at a lot of technologies on the market at the time. This is in the 2012 timeframe, something like that. Looked at a ton of technologies, found some, used some, but was missing all the automation they needed to service their market, which was contractor GL insurance they were selling. And so he asked me to help build them the tools they needed to really run their agency and be efficient and be fast and make it as fast as possible to get a quote back from their carrier and MGA partners. So that was the basics of the technology. And then we turned around, and the one problem that they couldn't solve was some of the MGAs and carriers couldn't provide that instant rate. So we decided to tackle that problem of having Surefyre be a platform that any MGA or specialty carrier could use to provide what my brother's agency was looking for, which was an instant rate using modern technology with an online portal.
So the technology you're using, is it connected to the carrier itself or is more the MGA itself? So multiple MGAs use the same carriers. So how does that work out?
Correct. Yeah. So, can answer that in a few ways. One is we can integrate with carriers and have integrated with many carriers. So MGAs that are using the same carriers, we can leverage the same integrations that we've already built. But yeah, even specialty carriers could use software like Surefyre to provide that underwriting workbench and to provide those instant rates using an online portal if that's something that they wanted.
Now, are you seeing a lot of agents that are using Surefyre and using MGAs that are on Surefyre more niche driven? Are they like into some of the trucking or cannabis or some of those type of things? Or are we looking at general MGA business or all across the board?
Well, across the board, but I think what we've seen is Surefyre lends itself really well to specialty stuff that has unique requirements. customers who are doing more boilerplate, admitted or ISO or whatever, it's like more standardized. They can still use Surefyre, a lot do, but you get unique value if you have unique requirements because of the configurability of the system, right? It's a true platform in the sense that you can build on top of it,
Okay.
and you can make it what you need it to be. Whether it's we have some new creative insurance product that has unique data that we need to collect, rules that need to be applied, like underwriting guidelines. So since you're kind of creating all this stuff within the platform, it's particularly valuable for specialty products or any product that has unique requirements around it. And that could be, larger, more standardized products that are being approached in a new way, or maybe there's a new business process that you're trying to implement. It's going to unlock a lot of that stuff. Whereas a lot of, less flexible or more legacy technology is going to eventually be a limiting factor rather than an enabler.
Yeah. I'd love to hear, is there any just, funny or outlandish or like strange, requests that you have had for a specialty niche? Like, we've heard of some fun ones out there. I didn't know if you guys had any examples of any that have come across your desk.
I mean, because it is a configurable platform, we have over 50 lines of business right now being written across our customers. Cannabis dispensaries is a big one right now. So a lot of customers doing that. Trucking's another big one. I mean, we have a program that just does tiny homes. So that was
fun.
That's a little fun one where, it's actually a very successful program for one of our customers, and it's just a tiny home program.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Me and my producer chatted that we're going to do a reality TV show of he and I in a tiny home and how that works. So we're going to see if that works out. I'm just kidding. No, but that sounds fun. Like just a whole niche in tiny homes. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But so you guys are able to do that. Now, do you work with those kind of things more on the agency side, or more the MGA comes to you and says, hey, we've had this request from these agents? Are you working more on that end?
Yeah, we work with the MGA typically to say what products are they selling today, or what new products do they want to sell, and then putting those online and building them out inside of Surefyre, and then that allows their agents to then quote and get and buy those products.
So one of the cool things about what you guys are doing, and you guys have been around at just the right time, it feels like that peak of the MGA, in the E&S business. So, I've been in this for, 20 plus years, and just in the last, I'd say 7 to 10 years is really when the E&S markets have really started to pick up, and the MGAs are really starting to see a lot more of standard market business and a lot more of that business. Was that something intentional for you guys to go into work with the MGAs, or you just kind of, I shouldn't say got lucky, but there was probably some luck involved there?
There's absolutely some luck involved there. I'm not going to lie. I think I agree. We hit kind of a good market at a good time with where there's also a need in the market to have better technology, and you see agents going to more efficient MGAs that are able to provide better services, and so we kind of got pretty lucky there.
Yeah,
I think the growth in the market and the need that's like all the different needs that have come up is one of the reasons maybe that we kind of stumbled into it, because we started selling Surefyre to retail agents, and for a number of reasons like that, it became clear that the platform could do a lot more, and it wasn't a great use case, at least for where the technology was. But we really focused on the MGA space because, as Dustin explained, there was a clear need, So it's like there was this vacuum of technology, and we had this platform that was really well suited for it. So it was kind of natural, I think, that we found ourselves there.
Yeah, I think, again, whether it be luck or a little bit of skill involved there, I think that's amazing that you were able to find this space. And again, you guys have talked a little bit about the client experience and the customer experience and making sure that's better. And you guys are doing that with automations, and you guys are doing that with some other really cool things there. Could you talk to me a little bit about the automation piece of that and what you guys are automating for the MGAs and how that's helping them to be more efficient, to get back quicker? Like I said, first in, first out a lot of times. And so how are you guys able to do that? And what are you guys doing with automations? Whichever one of you want to take that one.
Yeah, I can take that. So, the platform we built is really geared towards allowing it to work for any kind of business process in any MGA. And so we've built a whole automation framework, and that there's a lot of pieces to that, but a couple that I'll focus on is one, a workflow engine. So we've built an entire workflow engine that is completely configurable to meet any business process from any MGA.
Yeah.
And that workflow engine can allow you to do things like there's over 30 or 40 actions that can happen on an automated basis when somebody just clicks next on a web form. It can do things like automatically send emails, generate documents, set follow-up reminders to make sure that you're not losing business and that people are coming back to finish a quote, doing things like automatically gathering signatures. And all of it is using kind of point and click tools to actually schedule these automations and make them happen, as well as automating the entire renewal process. So when a policy is getting up, you take the new business, you add all the endorsements that were made over the course of the year, you combine all that data, and you've got a renewal application ready to go for someone just to review and an agent to say looks good, and then sell it. So a lot of different pieces, but we just try to make it as simple as possible for our customers and their customers to be able to quote and issue policies.
How much of that is coming from feedback that you're getting from the clients or people that are using it? And how much that's coming from, oh man, we didn't realize this was a need. Let's develop this for that need, or we'll put in the automation for that because we didn't know that was there? Or is it a combination?
It's a combination of both, but we have a great customer team that works directly with our customers to build out the implementations and get all these products live on Surefyre. And we have they actually sit in our development sprints and tell us exactly what the customers are looking for and any enhancements that they might want, as well as what we see in the market and what we see from sales prospects and whatnot. All of that gets driven directly into the product. So we listen to our customers a lot on what they need, and we're building to, meet their visions and make it as easy as possible for them.
And on the other side of that, there's some of that comes from, just happy accident, or like we stumbled upon this, like we didn't realize we needed this, but now we do. Or is there any of that that's kind of happened too? All right, you heard the music. It is shameless plug time. And you guys are planning out your conference season coming up. I got one for you. Accelerate 2025. It's coming. Charlotte, May 6th through the 9th. It's unlike any other. We got live demos, so you can test drive our products. This is not just for agency owners. We got something for everybody in the agency.
I mean, and this is a place that you can come and meet other Vertafore users, really kind of like connect with those people, talk tech, especially on the education side. You're going to be learning so much. So having that camaraderie with your colleagues, awesome.
So go to accelerate.netview.org and get signed up. Don't forget, we've also got Big and Rich that's coming. So save a horse, ride a cowboy, all the way down to Accelerate 2025. And make sure you stay around for Michael Phelps, our keynote speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, back to the show. Woo-woo.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, I think, if we're in discussions with a potential customer, it's because there's a clear need that's been identified, right?
Yeah.
There's plenty of discovery. But it's like when you see our customers and potential customers see Surefyre and all everything it can do, like what's possible with the configuration
Does
tools.
their brain just start rolling like all
Yeah,
the things?
it's actually a challenge a lot, because then it's like all these ideas start popping up. It's like, oh, this is how we do it now, but what if we use Surefyre for this and that? So it's like kind of scope creep at the discovery stage of like, okay, we're gonna adopt Surefyre. What problems is it gonna solve on day one? So we spent a lot of time like talking about kind of long-term goals, but then like, what can we launch with and what's phase two? Because again, it's one of the benefits, but also one of the challenges once you adopt a platform like this that enables all this type of automation, and then you have business people or underwriters or managers who they see what's possible, and then they start like overlapping that with their day-to-day work, and they realize like, wow, what if it could send this email for me? What if it could filter out like, these 200 applications that I manually decline every day? And that just kind of snowballs into what's possible. So it's exciting for sure, but it's also, it's not turnkey in the sense like this is what you're buying, very straightforward. This is what you're going to launch with. It's like, you need to define what you want your Surefyre system to do for you, which is a huge benefit for a lot of our customers because it's like their Surefyre system is very different from their competitor's Surefyre system, and it's kind of like their IP in a sense.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes you guys has been so successful, and what attracted Vertafore to want to be to be a part of what you guys are doing and acquire you guys. And tell me a little bit about what that's been like for you guys. That since, like we talked about earlier, since November of 2024, it's been a wild ride, and I'm sure it's been before that for you guys with conversations and whatnot. But tell me what that's been like for you guys coming on to the Vertafore team.
Yeah, I mean, first I just want to say we'd partnered with Vertafore even before this as part of the Orange program. And
100%.
so
Yeah.
we had a lot of shared customers already. There was already a very clear fit and a very clear kind of use case that we'd proven out and worked well with the other MGA products, which we're already integrated with. So so it made the conversation so much easier as part of the acquisition. And then, since we've actually closed the deal in November, I mean, yeah, it was a busy few months getting onboarded and doing all the things to integrate the companies together. But a lot of that hard work is now behind us, and now we're hitting the ground running again and focusing on the product. And we have a ton of new and exciting things that we're working on this year. Post acquisition, we kind of redid our roadmap a little bit, and we're working on a ton of cool things.
So is there anything you can share with the audience a little bit about maybe tease some of the things coming out or some of the things you're working on now? Or is there anything cool that we can look forward to?
Yeah, I mean, one, first and foremost, is strengthening some of the integrations we already had in place and adding new integrations with other Vertafore products. So we really want to kind of build a platform in the MGA space to really solidify the amazing products that are already there and bring them together with Surefyre. So that's one huge one. And we're also experimenting with some use cases in AI and how that can enhance the product too. So more to come there. But yeah, we're working on some cool things.
Everybody's favorite two letters is AI.
Yeah.
So is that an area that you find yourselves like gravitating towards yourselves as AI, or is that something you feel like the customer needs?
Yeah, I mean, there are tons of applications and stuff that's already in the platform. But there's really, in my mind, when it comes to Surefyre and our customers, there are two main categories. There's customer-facing AI solutions like extracting meaningful insights out of all the data they have that would be difficult for a human to identify, like pattern recognition and stuff like that. And a lot of the stuff that Vertafore is already working on in this space certainly overlaps with what Surefyre, like use cases that would be applicable for Surefyre. But then the other side, there's configuration, right? Because there's work that goes into setting up Surefyre because it's not turnkey. In the sense that you just turn it on and now it's ready to go. It's like you use these great configuration tools to get these systems up and running much faster than you otherwise could, but it still takes work, right? This is what my product looks like. This is the data that we need to gather. This is how we do our rate calculations. These are what our documents look like. So AI has an application there as well. How can it help set up these things even more rapidly than we already can? Because a lot of that work isn't even particularly complicated. It's like, hey, we get 1,000 emails a day with the same PDF form, so we want to create a great web experience for that, right? Well, someone's going to look. Step one would be someone to look at that PDF form and then convert it to a Surefyre web form, right? That's not hard. It's like drag a text field here, drag a data field there. Yeah. But AI could do it a lot faster.
That's a good point.
It goes beyond that too. All kinds of stuff from setting up workflows and understanding how information or submissions are flowing there and ways to optimize it. And so there's all kinds of exciting opportunity there in addition to the stuff that we've already built and we're currently building.
So part of the big roadmap moving forward with Vertafore right now, and some of our strategic initiatives have to do with MGA systems and Surefyre. How do you see those two, kind of coming together and working even closer together to help the MGA and the agent to be better and more efficient?
Yeah, so some of the things we're focusing on with MGA systems, and we already have a pretty solid integration with them, but they offer the full back-end policy administration system that Surefyre acts as the front end, and then they can act as the full kind of back-end and accounting system. And we're looking to strengthen the integration in a few places. One is through the policy lifecycle. cancellations, reinstatements, endorsements, making it much easier to send data back and forth between the two systems. So that's one integration that we're focused on. Also focusing on single sign-on so that an underwriter can have the same login to both systems. I mean, that's a small one, but it will be, not having to remember multiple passwords or be prompted multiple times for logins is going to be a smoother flow back and forth between the two systems. So those are a couple things.
That's awesome. Anything you want to add to that, Alex, or are you good with that? You think you got it pretty good?
Yeah. I mean, Dustin's going to be the expert on that.
Yeah.
I'd say, just generally speaking, we've been integrating with MGA systems even before it was acquired by Vertafore. So we've got a relatively long history with that.
Yeah.
With that software and that team. So they've always been a really good complement, and it's kind of serendipitous now that we're under the same brand.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And it's making it even easier for us to kind of like really enhance these integrations at a faster rate.
Yeah.
Data, like where communication is happening like more quickly. But Surefyre is really like the window, like the way for like external users to access MGA systems. An agent wants to get an endorsement for their policy, right? Typically they would have to reach out to an underwriter through some other channel. That underwriter then logs into their MGA systems and processes it, and it's kind of like this asynchronous thing that's happening in disparate systems. But Surefyre is tying it all together in a really elegant way, I think.
So if there's MGAs listening right now, or an agent that's listening to this right now, it's like, man, I wish my MGA, worked with Surefyre. I wish they were involved with them more. How would they go about doing that? How would they, get involved or, start working with you guys more?
Yeah. So, I mean, if any MGAs or wholesalers or large agencies are listening, definitely would love to show you, the solution. We've got a team here that can do demos and show you how it works when it comes to an agent wanting to. In fact, it's very possible some of the agents listening are using Surefyre to submit to their MGAs and might not even know it, because it's always white labeled as whatever the MGA's brand is.
Right on.
It looks like their portal.
Which is so smart.
And it also could be embedded on a public-facing website for an insured to get insurance, and you might not even know it. So, but I would say definitely the carriers that you like to work with, the MGAs you like to work with the most, make sure that they have up-to-date technology that makes it easy for you to submit back and forth, to get self-service your policy documents, self-service your endorsements. The more MGAs that hear that's what agencies want, they're going to get this
100%.
This better technology, these solutions like Surefyre that can make it easier for agents to do their work much faster and kind of by themselves and self-service to a bigger extent.
Well, that's been the name of the game, and we've talked about this quite a few episodes lately, is that currency of time is such a big deal, even more and more. It's always been there, but even more now with people, that their patience is nowhere near what it used to be. And like our attention span is so short now with, social media and with, whatever streaming and whatnot. So I think you're right on, again, falling into some of that luck part of it and some of it just being in the right place at the right time. But I think you're smart to keep digging in deeper and putting that pedal down even further on, let's make this more efficient. Let's help our agents and help our clients to be more efficient. So it's exciting. You about to say? Or
Yeah. Well, I think, you we're seeing more demand, or at least inquiry from like agents, MGAs, wholesalers to make this process more efficient, because there's so much data moving around. There's so many like calculations happening all over the place. But one huge difference that I see now compared to even like 5 years ago is like it's very possible to make it faster and almost and even instant in a lot of cases in ways that was not possible very recently. So no one was really asking for it.
Yeah.
An example would be like, I want to get a real-time rate from a carrier I work with, right? So, there's been a shift in thinking with carriers in general, I think, where it's like having API access to, our systems or our rating platforms is becoming like a necessity to compete. Whereas, it wasn't that long ago where a lot of the only way to get a rate back might be to log in, like, with your established user account, retype all the data from the application that you received as like a wholesaler, say, and get the quote and then like hand it back to the agent via email or some other channel. So it wasn't even possible, right, to create this instant rating experience. So no one would naturally like be pushing for that, but now it is. So it's like, hey, all the pieces are here. Like, let's just tie them together. Obviously, there's work to be done there, but you see that possibility, and especially now within Vertafore's ecosystem of all the great agency products, Surefyre, MGA systems, AIM, all the great MGA products. The opportunity to do the rest of that work, to tie it all together, is huge, and it's all kind of right there.
Man, I would love to continue talking about this, but ladies and gentlemen, I got to shut it down. But guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining the team. Thank you for being here. Thank you for squeezing in our tiny home of a studio here so we could have a good time with that. And audience, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you have any further questions, you want to learn more, go to Vertafore.com, or you could probably just search Surefyre, it's spelled with a Y, and find out more about it. And, we're going to put some more stuff in the show notes for you as well. But thank you so much, and I will see you guys on the next one.